The 2014 Peshawar School Van Kidnapping, case background and incident. On January 27, 2014, in the city of Peshawar, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, a school van carrying 13 schoolchildren and their driver was hijacked by armed militants. The children, aged between 5 and 12 years old, were students of a local private school and were on their way home when the van was intercepted in the Badaber area, a suburb of Peshawar. The perpetrators were identified as members of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), a militant group notorious for targeting civilians and security forces in Pakistan. The kidnappers, armed with automatic weapons, forced the van to divert from its route and took the hostages to a hideout in the Mattani area, a semi-rural region on the outskirts of Peshawar, known at the time as a hotspot for militant activity. The driver, who was also taken hostage, was unable to resist due to the overwhelming threat posed by the armed militants. The abduction occurred in broad daylight, sending shockwaves through the local community and raising fears about the safety of schoolchildren in a region already plagued by militancy. The kidnappers contacted authorities shortly after the abduction, demanding the release of several TTP militants imprisoned by the Pakistani government in exchange for the safe return of the hostages. They also threatened to harm the children if their demands were not met, escalating the urgency of the situation. The news of the kidnapping spread rapidly, with parents of the abducted children gathering at the school and local police stations, desperate for updates, response, and investigation. The kidnapping triggered an immediate response from Pakistani law enforcement agencies, including the Peshawar Police, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Counter-Terrorism Department, CTD, and elements of VIEW, the Pakistan Army, given the involvement of a terrorist group. A crisis management cell was established to coordinate the response, and senior officials, including the Inspector General of Police and regional military commanders, were directly involved in overseeing the operation. The authorities adopted a two-pronged approach: negotiations to ensure the safety of the hostages and simultaneous intelligence gathering to locate the kidnappers. Negotiators engaged with the militants to buy time, while intelligence agencies, including the Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI), worked to trace the kidnappers' communications and pinpoint their location. The police cordoned off areas around Peshawar to restrict the militants' movements and deployed additional forces to sensitive locations to prevent any secondary attacks. Local residents and informants played a crucial role in the investigation. Reports from the Mattani area indicated suspicious activity, including sightings of armed men and an unfamiliar vehicle matching the description of the school van. This information, combined with intercepted communications, helped narrow down the hideout's location to a compound in a remote part of Mattani. Rescue operation. On January 28, 2014, approximately 30 hours after the kidnapping, Pakistani security forces launched a pre-dawn raid on the militants' hideout. The operation was meticulously planned to minimize risk to the hostages. Elite units from the police and military, supported by specialized counter-terrorism teams, surrounded the compound under the cover of darkness. The forces used night vision equipment and real-time intelligence to maintain the element of surprise. The raid was executed with precision. The security forces neutralized the kidnappers' outer defenses and breached the compound, Engaging in a brief firefight, several militants were apprehended, while others attempted to flee but were captured in follow-up operations. Critically, no hostages were harmed during the raid. All 13 children and the driver were rescued unharmed, though they were understandably traumatized by the ordeal. The operation yielded additional gains. The forces recovered a cache of weapons, including assault rifles, grenades, and explosives, as well as documents linking the kidnappers to TTP networks. The rescued children were immediately taken to a nearby hospital for medical evaluations and psychological support, where they were reunited with their families. The driver provided a detailed account of the abduction, aiding further investigations into the TTP's operations in the region. Aftermath and impact. The successful resolution of the Peshawar School Van Kidnapping was widely praised as a triumph for Pakistan's security forces. The operation demonstrated effective coordination between police, military, and intelligence agencies, as well as the value of community cooperation in counter-terrorism efforts. The fact that all hostages were rescued without loss of life was a rare positive outcome in a region frequently marred by violence. The case also highlighted the vulnerability of civilians, particularly children, to militant groups like the TTP. It came at a time when Peshawar was reeling from a series of terrorist attacks, including bombings targeting schools and public spaces. The kidnapping prompted authorities to enhance security measures for educational institutions, including increased police patrols, mandatory security drills, and awareness campaigns for school staff and students. The arrested militants were prosecuted under Pakistan's anti-terrorism laws, and several were convicted for their roles in the kidnapping. The case also provided valuable intelligence that disrupted other TTP operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, weakening the group's presence in the region. Media coverage and public reaction. The kidnapping and subsequent rescue operation were extensively covered by Pakistani media outlets, including Dawn, the Express Tribune, and Geo News. The story dominated headlines for days, with live updates on the rescue efforts and emotional accounts from the families of the rescued children. Public reaction was one of relief and gratitude toward the security forces, though it was tempered by anger at the audacity of the TTP in targeting young children. The case also sparked discussions about the broader issue of militancy in Pakistan and the need for long-term strategies to counter extremist groups. It underscored the importance of education as a target for terrorists, who often seek to disrupt societal progress by attacking schools and students. Significance. The 2014 Peshawar School Van Kidnapping case stands out as a solved true crime case in Pakistan that did not involve murder but had high stakes due to the involvement of young hostages and a terrorist group. Its resolution showcased the bravery and professionalism of Pakistan's security forces and the resilience of the local community. While the case is less remembered today compared to more violent incidents, it remains a significant example of a successful counter-terrorism operation with a positive outcome.